depths we rise, grasping chaos, cutting ties. In the shifting void we learn, where the ancient secrets burn. No gods to follow, no rules to bind. We shape reality, we shape our mind. A fractured world, we make it whole.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Deep Dive. This time, we're going deep into the world of chaos magic.
Yeah, you know when you hear chaos magic?
You think wands and pointy hats.
Yeah, exactly. But it's actually a really modern system, very experimental.
We'll be using Daniel Lawson's Wielding Chaos as our guide for this deep dive.
It's a really comprehensive look at how chaos magic came about and how it's evolved over time.
So if you're into esoteric traditions, the evolution of magical practices, and how pop culture reflects all that stuff,
then this deep dive is definitely for you.
So let's get right into it. What exactly is chaos magic?
Well, it's a kind of magic that puts getting results above any kind of strict rules or dogma.
Okay, so not like a rule book you have to follow.
More like a toolbox,
I like that.
filled with all sorts of techniques from all these different traditions.
So you pick and choose what works for you.
Exactly. That's the key. Experimentation. Finding what clicks for you.
So it's really personalized then.
Totally. It's super adaptable. Chaos magic practitioners, they might use stuff from Western ceremonial magic or Eastern practices like yoga or meditation.
Right.
Even modern psychology.
All fair game.
It is. It's all about making the practice fit your own beliefs and what you're trying to achieve.
Now, Lawson mentions Aleister Crowley as a big influence.
He was.
Even though chaos magic didn't really get going till after he died.
Right.
So, for those who don't know, who was Crowley?
Oh, man, Crowley was a huge personality.
Yeah.
Occultist, writer, even a mountaineer.
Really?
Yeah. Brilliant guy, but definitely controversial.
I can imagine.
He wasn't directly involved in making chaos magic what it is.
Sure.
But his ideas were super important to it, especially about Thelema using symbols and making personal experience the basis of magic.
So Thelema, what's that all about?
Thelema boils down to, do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law.
Sounds a bit,
Wild.
yeah.
But it's not about just doing whatever you want. It's more about finding your true will, your purpose.
Okay.
And making your actions match that purpose.
So self-discovery, but with a magical twist.
You got it. That emphasis on personal experience really resonated with the early chaos magic folks.
They thought the same way?
Yeah, that magic wasn't about blindly following tradition, but more about creating your own path.
It's funny, this whole personal experience shapes your magic thing.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of another influence on chaos magic, Discordianism.
Yes, Discordianism.
Seems like a weird fit at first.
Right. On the surface, it's all jokes and absurdism.
Total rejection of traditional religion.
Right. But underneath all that silliness...
That's some depth.
Totally. Discordianism encourages you to, really examine your belief system.
Questioning everything.
Exactly. Discordians, they say, embrace the chaos.
Okay.
Challenge dogma, and realize that reality is, subjective.
So how did this philosophy, all about humor and questioning everything, actually influence chaos magic?
Chaos magicians saw how powerful it was to challenge fixed beliefs. That really clicked with their idea that reality can be changed and belief is part of that.
It pushed them to think outside the box.
Yeah. To use humor and playfulness to break down rigid ways of thinking.
Okay, so we've got these ancient traditions, a philosophy that's all about chaos and humor. Chaos magic's a pretty eclectic mix. But when did it actually become a thing, like a distinct movement?
That would be the 1970s and 80s. That's when folks like Peter J. Carroll and Ray Sherwin came on the scene. They started a group called the Illuminates of Thanateros, or IoT. They were all about using magic in a practical way.
The IoT sounds a bit like a secret society, doesn't it?
Well, they were definitely influential in shaping how chaos magic developed. They were big on experimenting, adapting techniques to what individuals needed, and a very do-it-yourself approach. Which makes sense because there's a real DIY vibe running through all of chaos magic.
Speaking of DIY, this was also the time of punk rock, which was all about challenging authority and doing things your own way. Is there a connection there?
Absolutely. Chaos magic and punk, they both came out of this feeling that things were stagnant and people wanted to express themselves. They both challenged the established ways of doing things, whether in music or art or even spirituality.
And wasn't the New Age movement also getting big around this time? All about personal growth and exploring spirituality. Did those movements overlap at all, or were there clashes?
That's interesting because while chaos magic and New Age seem really different on the surface,
Yeah.
they both reject traditional authority structures and focus on personal experience. But there's a point of tension there, too.
How so?
Well, chaos magic is very individualistic, while the New Age often emphasizes interconnectedness and universal harmony.
So they're looking at similar themes, but from different perspectives.
Exactly, and it just shows how diverse alternative spiritualities can be, even when they share some common ground.
Now, one figure who seems to bridge those worlds is Austin Osman Spare. Lawson talks about his work with sigils and the subconscious. Who was Spare, and how did his work influence chaos magic?
Spare was an artist and occultist. He came up with these techniques for using the power of your subconscious mind for magic.
So like tapping into a deeper level of your mind for magical purposes.
Yeah. He believed that if you could bypass your conscious mind, you could get to this wellspring of creative power.
Interesting.
His work with sigils, which are these simple symbols charged with your intention, really connected with chaos magicians.
So instead of complex rituals or hierarchies of spirits, Spare's approach was more about focusing your will and intention through these sigils.
Exactly. It was about stripping magic down to its essence. Belief, will, and using the power of your mind to shape reality. And that fit right in with the chaos magic way of doing things.
Finding what works, no matter what the traditions say.
Exactly. It's pretty amazing how chaos magic pulls inspiration from all these different places.
Yeah, from ancient traditions to like modern counterculture.
Right.
That's what makes it so fascinating.
Oh, for sure.
But also maybe a bit intimidating if you're just getting started with it.
Yeah, I can see that.
Hi everyone! Next week we will have 3 podcasts about very interesting books on chaos magic because, although they are not specific lines, they are very useful to those who are willing to use them, both in concrete jungles and in nature. This is here at
Chaos Magic Time.
You hear chaos, and it's easy to think of it as this wild, unpredictable force.
Right.
Do you need like a certain level of self-awareness to practice chaos magic responsibly?
Absolutely. It's not about just throwing spells around without thinking about the consequences.
Okay.
Chaos magicians who are serious about their practice, they get that you need knowledge, discipline, and a deep understanding of the forces you're dealing with.
Right. So for someone who's curious about exploring chaos magic, where do they even start?
Well, it's a good idea to start with the philosophy behind it.
Okay.
Now, it pulls from lots of different intellectual traditions,
You're right.
but one key thing is rejecting fixed beliefs and dogma.
So instead of just following a set path, you're supposed to question everything and come to your own conclusion.
Exactly, and that connects to another big influence on chaos magic, anarchism.
Anarchism. So we're talking Molotov cocktails and riots.
Uh-huh. No, not quite.
Okay.
When we talk about anarchism in chaos magic, we mean rejecting hierarchies and believing in individual autonomy.
So taking control of your own spiritual path, not relying on some authority to tell you what to believe.
Precisely. It's about questioning, experimenting, and finding what works for you.
That makes sense.
Which brings us to another seemingly paradoxical influence, nihilism.
Nihilism. But isn't that all about negativity and despair?
Well, not in this context.
Okay.
In chaos magic, nihilism is more like a tool to deconstruct belief systems.
So like clearing out the mental clutter, starting fresh so you can build your own belief system based on what you experience.
Exactly. It's about stripping away all those preconceived notions and assumptions to get to a truer understanding of reality.
That makes sense.
And this ties into how postmodernism has influenced chaos magic.
Postmodernism. Now that's a big one.
It is, but basically, postmodernism emphasizes that reality is subjective.
Okay.
There's no one objective truth, just lots of interpretations.
So it's not about finding the capital T truth, but more about creating your own personal truth.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that reality is fluid and we have a hand in shaping it through our actions, beliefs, and intentions.
Okay, so we've talked about some of the philosophy behind chaos magic.
Right.
Let's get back to the practical side.
Sure.
We've mentioned sigils, servitors, and chaos spheres.
Right.
Are there any other rituals or practices commonly used in chaos magic?
Well, because it's so eclectic, you'll find a wide range of practices.
I bet.
But it's important to remember that rituals in chaos magic aren't about rigidly following instructions.
Okay.
They're more like frameworks for focusing your will and intention.
So adaptability and personalization are key here.
Absolutely. One person might use techniques from traditional ceremonial magic, while another might bring in elements of yoga or meditation or even performance art.
Wow.
It's all about finding what works for you and what aligns with your goals.
That's what I find so interesting about chaos magic, this encouragement of creativity and personal exploration.
Yeah, it really challenges the idea of a one-size-fits-all approach to magic.
Let's dig a bit deeper into sigil magic.
Okay.
We talk about how Spear's work with sigils was influential in chaos magic.
Right.
Can you walk us through how to create and charge a sigil?
Sure. It all starts with a clear idea of what you want to achieve.
Your intention.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Once you have that, you take your statement of intent and turn it into a simplified symbol.
Like a visual representation of your desire.
Yeah,
A magical code.
that's a great way to put it. Then once you've created your sigil, you need to charge it.
Charge it. How do you do that?
It involves focusing all your will and intention on the sigil, filling it with energy, and directing it towards your desired outcome.
So you're talking chanting, rituals, incense burning.
You can use those things, but the real key is reaching a state of heightened awareness and focus.
Okay.
Some people meditate or visualize. Others might even use powerful emotions like anger or excitement to charge their sigils.
So you're harnessing those raw emotions and channeling them into the sigil.
Exactly. The specific method you use isn't as important as how intense and clear your intention is.
Makes sense.
Now let's move on to servitors.
Okay.
You mentioned that they're essentially thought forms, like mental constructs created to perform certain tasks.
Right.
Can you explain how you create a servitor?
Sure. Just like with sigils, it begins with intention.
Okay.
What do you want this servitor to do? Once you know that, you visualize it.
Okay.
Give it a form, a personality, even specific abilities that will help it complete its task.
So you're essentially bringing this mental construct to life.
You could say that. You're
Yeah.
giving it some of your own energy and purpose.
Right.
Some people even give their servitors names and detailed instructions.
That's really interesting.
So it's like a combination of visualization and focused intention.
Yeah, get that.
And then the next step is launching the servitor.
Launching it.
Yes, you release it into the world so it can act on its own to carry out its tasks.
So you're setting it free to do its job. You could put it that way, but it's important to remember that servitors are still connected to the magician who created them.
Oh, okay.
You might need to check in with them regularly, maybe even give them energy boosts, depending on how complex their task is.
So it's like having a magical employee that you need to manage.
That's a good analogy. And just like with any employee, setting clear boundaries and limitations is really important.
I can see that.
Responsible practitioners understand that servitors are powerful tools, and you need to treat them with respect and caution.
Definitely.
Finally, let's talk about chaos spheres.
Okay.
You described them as personal realms, like little universes you create for exploration and growth.
Right.
How are they created and used in chaos magic? Creating a chaos sphere is a very personal thing.
Okay.
It often involves going into a deep meditative state and using visualization to build a unique space within your own consciousness.
Wow.
This space can be anything the magician wants it to be: a peaceful garden, a futuristic city, even an abstract realm of pure energy.
So it's like a mental landscape tailored to the individual's needs and desires.
Exactly.
That's really cool.
The chaos sphere acts as a safe space for experimentation, exploration, and growth.
Right.
It can be used to work through personal issues, to connect with spirits or entities, even to practice magical techniques in a controlled environment.
It's fascinating how chaos magic uses these internal landscapes
Mm-hmm.
for magic.
Right.
It really shows how powerful the mind and imagination can be in shaping reality.
Absolutely. And that's a core principle of chaos magic.
Okay.
The belief that reality can be changed and that we can influence it through our thoughts, beliefs, and intentions.
It's about taking control and shaping our own reality, both inside and outside ourselves.
Exactly.
We've covered a lot today, from the philosophy of chaos magic to the techniques used by practitioners.
Yeah, we have.
It's clear that this is a complex and dynamic tradition that's always evolving and adapting to the needs of its practitioners.
And it's had a huge impact on contemporary occultism.
That's for sure.
From using pop culture references to embracing technology, chaos magic is always pushing boundaries and challenging how we think about magic and spirituality.
Well, I'm definitely interested in learning more.
Me too.
What does the future hold for chaos magic?
That's a question we'll explore when we come back, but for now, we need to take a quick break.
We'll be right back.
We are and live here to enjoy life. Avoiding this means avoiding being ourselves. One of the ways people like to live is by learning more. And that's why I make these podcasts about books and about chaos magic. Here in Brazil, we are all educated to be cheap. That hurt education to be socially accepted. So I thought that the popular objection to chaos magic would be very intense. I was wrong. Here, people are eager to learn and practice things that work for us Brazilians. It's no different outside of Brazil, but since English is not our native language, communication is a bit rigid. Anyway, I now make podcasts in English because just as many other people also liked them. I believe it is important to use these podcasts as a basis for at least Chaos Magic group to start discussions about them. However, I must point out that groups that are not practitioners of Chaos Magic will be very surprised when they practice these works that I recommended. And also I will recommend. Let's keep our hunger for learning strong here in Brazil or anywhere on the world. Hugs!
Welcome back to the Deep Dive, where we've been exploring the wild world of chaos magic.
Yeah, we've talked about its philosophy, some of its key techniques.
Right, and now I'm wondering about its future. Will chaos magic keep growing, or are there challenges ahead?
Well, like anything that challenges how things are usually done, there are going to be bumps in the road.
Yeah.
Chaos magic is no different. Trends come and go. People might misinterpret it.
Right, we've seen how popular it's becoming.
Right.
Could that actually be a bad thing? Could it get too trendy and lose what makes it special?
That's a real worry. As more people get into chaos magic, there's a danger of its core ideas getting watered down or, turned into a product.
Yeah.
It's important to remember that it's not about quick fixes or following the latest fad.
Right.
It's about exploring yourself, experimenting, and taking responsibility for shaping your own reality.
And with chaos magic being so decentralized,
Yeah.
no central authority or anything,
Right.
is it hard to maintain a sense of community and shared purpose?
It's a challenge for sure.
Yeah.
Online forums and social media have been great for connecting people all over the world,
Yeah.
but it's important to make sure those connections are genuine and people are practicing responsibly.
So maybe smaller, more focused groups, even online ones,
Yeah.
could help to keep those connections strong and make sure the core principles of chaos magic don't get lost.
Exactly. Having spaces where people can have real conversations, share what they've learned, and support each other.
Yeah.
Those are crucial for any tradition, but especially for one that's all about exploring and experimenting on your own.
And we talked earlier about how people perceive chaos magic.
Right.
The word chaos can be scary, and there are lots of misconceptions about what it actually means.
Definitely.
How can people who practice chaos magic help to clear up those misunderstandings?
I think being open and educating others is really important.
Oh.
Having honest conversations about chaos magic, what it stands for, its ethics, how it's used in practice,
Right.
that can really help to demystify it.
Yeah.
It's about showing people, it's not about summoning demons or being reckless. It's
Right.
about empowering yourself, but in a way that encourages responsibility, self-awareness, and understanding the power of your own mind.
So changing how people see it, moving away from those sensationalized media portrayals and focusing on the core values of self-discovery and personal growth that are really at the heart of chaos magic.
Exactly.
It sounds like chaos magic is at a turning point.
It is.
Its future depends on how practitioners deal with these challenges and adapt to how spirituality and occultism are changing.
Right.
Kind of exciting, but also a little bit daunting.
It is, but even with the challenges, chaos magic has so much potential. The way it emphasizes personal empowerment, challenging what we think we know, and embracing change.
Yeah.
It makes it a really powerful tool for navigating the complexities of modern life.
It's almost like a set of tools for self-discovery and personal growth in a world that often feels chaotic and unpredictable.
That's a great way to put it.
By embracing the principles of chaos magic, people can tap into their own creativity, resilience, and ability to change.
Exactly.
Well, I think it's safe to say that our deep dive into chaos magic has given us more questions than answers,
Haha, that's usually how it goes.
which is actually a good thing.
It is.
It sparked our curiosity and made us want to explore more about consciousness, belief, and how our will can shape reality.
That's what it's all about.
And with that sense of possibility and wonder, we'll wrap up this deep dive into chaos magic.
Thanks for joining us.
If you've enjoyed exploring this topic with us,
Yeah.
I encourage you to continue your own journey. Check out Daniel Lawson's Wielding Chaos.
Yeah, great book.
Explore online communities and see where your path takes you.
And remember,
Yeah.
never stop questioning, experimenting, and pushing the limits of what you think is possible.
That's the essence of chaos magic.
It is.
Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.
Until next time.
Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.
Chaos, we find our soul. When we chaos, we break the chains. No truth to hold, no lies remain. In the void, we carve our fate. Magicians of a fractured state. Willing chaos, we cast our spell. In the wreckage, we live and dwell. From Crowley's visions to the modern age, we walk the line between wise and mad sage. With symbols scattered and rituals free, we dance with the void, let our spirits see. Anarchy whispers in every spell. In the chaos we live, we rebel.